Welcome to another episode of the Reese's Reviews podcast, brought to you by mygeekculture.com.au. My name is Matt, and joining me on this podcast today is Reece Cashel, the guy.
I am back.
Who still claims to have changed his name by default to Reese's Reviews, but
the
government.
That's my new tagline now. I'm going to be forever known as the podcaster.
Yes.
Reviewer.
Reese's Reviews Cashel. So,
yep, that's me.
And
bring it on.
And look, we're only so many episodes into it, and we've got a very special guest who shall go nameless. So, oh, okay. I was meant to mention his name.
It's that guy.
Please introduce yourself.
It's Stu.
Stu.
Yes. So, everyone who's been listening to this podcast for the last, whenever you have listened to this podcast, he has chimed in every once in a while. If you listen to our Wicked episode, he was chimed in for that. If you listen to our episode when we were in New York on location, we did a little review on Tron. This is the man himself. So Stuart is on the podcast this week for a very particular reason, to review a particular TV show.
Yes.
Which we'll get to a bit later on. But welcome to the podcast, to officially on our weekly recording. Welcome, mate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Matt Man. None, Matt Man.
Oh God.
And just so,
Told you that thing is going to last, mate.
Well, that's all right. Reece, you're about to get one too. Here's one for you, Matt. Hello, Reese's Pieces.
I already gave that to him when we went. You remember the trip to New York, Reece? The first thing I did. Yeah, pointed it out. Yep. This is in 2011.
I've had that my entire life.
And then you pointed out, it's like, it's spelt differently, so it doesn't work.
Well, it's better than referring to him as a plumber.
Oh, no.
What would he prefer, candy or plumbing?
Yeah, fair enough. or you are a manufacturer of white goods. No, that is Reece, plumbing. Yeah, you're right. Correct.
It's plumbing. Yeah, plumbing. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's just ganging up on me today. That's cool.
That's okay.
So we're going to have a great episode for our audience today. It's going to be a jam-packed one of celebration of all things film. And we're going to have a movie review and a TV show review for you. So it's going to be a full-on packed episode, and nothing less than bringing on a special guest to go through this kind of thing. So as always, we're going to start off with our Entertainment Honourable Mentions.
Yes, we'll make sure that this episode runs on time.
The countdown is going.
Why the clock tick? Wicked's already come and gone.
Our countdown to Doomsday ever continues to go.
Well, at the time of this recording, the step before Avengers Doomsday, they've been teasing little hints of Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yes, we'll be getting that trailer, I think, bits of it tomorrow.
Well, I've already started seeing bits of it on my socials. Yeah, anyway, that's part of... Sorry, jumping the gun there.
Jumping the gun, yeah.
That's my fault.
So, one of the biggest event calendars of the year that I mostly look forward to the most, the biggest event of film, pretty much the film industry, is the Oscars.
Sorry.
And he's counting me down, ladies and gentlemen. He's counting me down.
No. That's one of the biggest event things that I'm waiting for.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So we're talking about the Oscars. The Academy Awards happened. I was recording this podcast. It happened 2 days ago, and I love this event. I love watching it every year. I love to see what they do with the show, how they change things up from previous years, how well the host does, if the jokes land, if they don't land, the winners, and just celebrating all things that is film. And the amazing year that we have. And I think one of the biggest things I find with the Oscars especially is when the award season starts to kick around, you're kind of going, did we actually have a kind of good year? I don't know if 2025 was a good year. And then the award season comes around and you realize just how many great films we had in that year. And it's a shame we can't get a lot of films that don't get the recognition, because there were so many that get done and only so many get recognized by the Academy. But I look forward to the Oscars every year. I always have to watch it after work. So I spent three hours after work sitting down watching the Oscars.
And we spent about 3 hours doing a 45-minute podcast.
Yes. Well, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I digress. But I wanted to go take some time with this Entertainment Honourable Mentions and just go through the winners, see what ones surprised us, some ones that we thought we thoroughly enjoyed and what thought we deserved, and just see get a just camaraderie. I'm kind of talk within each other to see what we thought about the Oscars winners.
Yep,
so
go ahead, Reece.
Reading this off the Hollywood Reporter now. Going off of the bank, so there was a few awards that happened at the Oscars that I thought were a guaranteed lock. Like everyone going into the Oscars knew that certain categories, even though there's a certain people up for them, we knew they were going to win, kind of thing. And one of them was, yes, it was one of the first things that they listed here was Best Picture, which went to One Battle After Another. Now, films that were nominated up against it was Begonia, F1, Frankenstein.
That movie title, One Battle After Another, sounds like a Foo Fighters lyric. The one last thing, it's not like... the Pretender.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Every time someone says One Battle After Another, all I've got is Foo Fighters Pretender stuck in my head.
Oh, don't put me out in my head. I'm going to start thinking about that too. So up against that, so Frankenstein, Hamnet, Mighty Supreme, Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, Train Dreams, and of course One Battle After Another, and it took the prize out. That was a guarantee. Everyone kind of thought it was going to be up between One Battle After Another and Sinners, which is pretty much been the entire of the award season. It's pretty much been a 2-horse race a lot of the times when it comes to the movie side of things, between Sinners and One Battle, and One Battle took out Best Picture.
You're saying a movie, it's a 2-horse race? Anyway. Sorry. I'm very musical in my head today.
I can tell. Best Director also went to Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. He is on a streak. I didn't actually realize that he actually has won or been nominated at least 7 or 8 times for Best Director. So he's one of those directors where he's got a film coming out, you kind of take notice about what he's kind of doing. So he won for Best Director up against Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Mighty Supreme, Johan Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Next on the list is one that I am so happy about. Everyone thought going into the awards season that when it came to Best Actor, it was going to go to pretty much Leo, or it was going to go towards Timothée Chalamet. So between One Battle After Another and Mighty Supreme. Then the SAG Awards happened, and it went to Michael B. Jordan, and those odds against Timothée Chalamet went down. And I was so happy to see that Michael B. Jordan won for Best Actor. I was so happy. His speech was great, to the point, and it was so well done. And I thought, so well deserved. And definitely the Academy's looking out for these kind of roles, because that role he did in Sinners was so different. Like, he had to play twins for one thing, but in essence, he had to play 3 characters. So he played the 2 brothers, and then at the version of that, have one of those brothers becoming a vampire.
See, with Sinners, with Michael B. Jordan, I knew of him way before he started popping up in movies. Because did you ever watch The Wire?
No, but I know everyone knew were introduced to him from The Wire and Fruitvale Station.
Absolutely fantastic in The Wire, because he plays a teenager or a kid. And from there, so I'm going, this kid's going to go far. And then bam, now look at him. And The Wire's from the mid-noughties.
Yeah, and that's also where a lot of the people got introduced to Idris Elba.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Stringer Bell in The Wire, yeah.
So I never watched The Wire, but I know I've seen a lot of clips of it, and so I was so happy to hear about Michael B. Jordan. That was so great, and that was just fantastic. Another one that pretty much everyone walking in the Oscars knew that it was going to go to her. So Best Actress went to Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. I reviewed Hamnet on this podcast. It was a brilliant performance. It's pretty much, I posted up on my socials about when you know how they've got that. I think it's like a video clip where they had, it's called screenplay, where they show the script and and the actor is playing the thing. So I posted about Jessie Buckley's performance of one of those things, and you just go, this is the reason why she was nominated, and this is why she's been winning. It was phenomenal, and going up against our Aussie Rose Byrne in If I Had Legs I'll Kick You, Kate Hudson in Song Blue, Renette Renzive in Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone in Begonia. I personally have only seen 2 out of the films on the list, and Hamnet, Jessie Buckley just nailed it, and her speech was beautiful and fantastic. So, well done. It was definitely warranted for Jessie Buckley. Best Supporting Actor, I was not unhappy with this pick. Sean Penn in One Battle After Another. We all know the controversy with Sean Penn. He doesn't like the Academy. Pretty much the Academy doesn't like him, which is why he didn't turn up. But he still won for Best Supporting Actor, and it was definitely well deserved. I thought he did a great performance in One Battle After Another. So that was,
He made sure that he was busy when he didn't attend. So he was out. No. He was doing some charity stuff, like
Yeah, I just found it funny when you're watching the show when.
What's the third time that he's been either nominated or won? And
but
he hasn't been there because he's like the Nick Cave of the Oscars, where it can be nominated or win numerous times of many awards, just doesn't give a shit. He's just doing his job.
Well, Culkin came out, he won Best Actor last year, and pretty much saying, I was accepting this on behalf of Sean Penn. He couldn't be here or didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
And he walked off stage, and I went, he put it out there. So next thing is, I think it's a great that Stuart is on this podcast for me to say this, because I have a great story to tell about this next one. Best Supporting Actress went to Amy Madigan for Weapons. Now, anyone who doesn't know Stuart knows he's not the biggest fan of horror films. So I was visiting him visiting him one time, and we went to the movies, and I said, I really want to go see Weapons. I've been seeing him some great things about it. Let's go see it. I didn't tell him it was a horror film.
And I'd only read the basic synopsis of, okay, kids run out in the middle of the night. Okay, all at the same time. Okay, mystery time.
I told him it was a suspense thriller, which technically it is, but it's a horror suspense thriller. And so when he got 15 minutes into the movie and he looked at me and he goes, "Is this a horror film?" I went, "Maybe."
And then I mouthed something.
I walked out with a bruise on my arm. He hit me that hard.
Wow.
And I believe that you said after he reviewed that, you said, "Yeah, I probably would have done the same thing to you, Reece."
So I was more than happy to see Amy Madigan in Weapons, and I kind of agree with a lot of people that are saying that walking out of Weapons, I didn't think too much of the performances of Academy, and then when her name started to get some traction, I went, "Hang on a second, she actually played that part amazingly well," and kind of going, "Yeah, does deserve that recognition," and the fact that she won. And I have a soft spot for her husband, Ed Harris, being the legend that he is, and they've been the stigma of
they've been together since 1983.
Yeah, they've been Hollywood couple for ages. So I was so happy to see Amy get up there, and at the very end of her acceptance speech, pretty much goes, "Oh, I can't help it." Goes, "Oh, my sweet Ed, couldn't have done this without you," and that kind of stuff. And I was just that was very heartwarming.
I do like when she won, like when they mentioned her name, and then Ed just looks to her with his head down, with the glasses down, and gave her the polite stink eyes, like, "Hey, told you so." So it was just like, "And you didn't believe me. I knew you were going to win." So
you did it, honey.
Yeah. Yep, she is.
Yeah.
You did it. Yeah, you did it. That was great.
It was just like that acknowledgement of that's awesome. Yeah, like. Hell yeah.
And that's what you want from a supporting partner, which is fantastic.
Cue that dog meme. Who's awesome? You're awesome.
The next two categories, again, were guaranteed locks. There was no chance that anyone else was going to win this category, and that is the categories of Best Adapted Screenplay and the Best Original Screenplay. Best Adapted Screenplay went to Paul Thomas Anderson writing One Battle After Another. I have no worries or disagreements with that. It was brilliantly written script. He was going up against Will Tracy for Begonia, Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein, Chloe Zhao and Maggie O'Farrell for Hamnet, and Clint Bentley and Greg Quidar for Train Dreams. But I'm more than happy for One Battle After Monty getting that. And I was so happy to see, and he gave such an amazing speech. Best original screenplay went to Ryan Coogler for Sinners. I was over the moon for that. He gave a great speech. He seems such a humble guy, and he's actually becoming a director for myself. Just like Christopher Nolan and Spielberg, where if they've got a movie coming out, I'll go see them just because they're films of those two directors. Coogler has now made my trilogy, my trio now. And if Coogler is bringing out a film, I will see it just because he is making it. I have not been disappointed with any one of his films that he's made in the last few years, and I'm just been in love with it. And he's such a wholesome and amazing guy, and his partnership.
You need to finish off watching X-Files then, because he's making the reboot.
Reboot, which means I don't need to see the old one. He's rebooting it. Gotcha.
You're not going to get him, Matt.
Okay. Well, this kind of leads on to one of the other categories. When it comes to best, we're going to bring things down here. Get rid of that. Don't need anything about it. So, going into best original score, he's Ryan Coogler's longtime partnership with his college roommate Ludwig Göransson won best original score for Sinners. I was listening to some of the original score shortly after the Oscars, and that score is so rich in history, and especially now that Stuart and I have come back from the South, come back from New Orleans, having that soundtrack being there, you can feel the history of that soundtrack was there, and Ludwig I think this is his third Oscar win. He's on a roll. Like, this guy is so musically on a whole other level. He's not to the caliber of Williams. Williams is the GOAT. No one can touch him. Ludwig is getting such a good reputation. He's so well talented. So it's so happy that Ludwig won that as well. I'm not going to bother about international feature and documentary feature and shorts because I don't think our audience care too much about that just at the present moment. Now, this is a little bit of a controversy one. I understand why it won, but when it came to Best Animated Feature, it went to K-Pop Demon Hunters. Now, me personally, I don't think it would have deserved it because the only reason Netflix put it in theaters is for to get was because of the craze everyone was pushing for it, and also to get it. I personally think to get it recognized by the Academy, because the only way you can get it recognized by the Academy is that you got to put it in theaters for a certain amount of time for us in a certain amount of theaters. And the fact that this movie premiered on Netflix originally, and then maybe a couple of weeks later, then went into the theaters. This is technically anything that's on Netflix, a film that's made for streaming. That's a TV movie, so that should be recognized at the Emmys, not at the Oscars. So the fact that I congratulate K-Pop Demon Hunters for winning what they won, and we're going to talk about another thing they won shortly. But when it comes to winning the awards and being nominated, they are a TV movie because they premiered on streaming on Netflix, and then they put it in theaters later on. Netflix is notorious for not putting things in theaters. It's not part of their model. So I have a little bit of an issue with that, but at the same time, I personally, my personal opinion, this is no one doing anything else. I personally would have preferred Zootopia 2 to win because it was a very well-made film. It was a well-rounded film, very great story. The animation was beautiful, and I thought that deserved a more so over K-pop, because even though I love the soundtrack of K-pop, Zootopia 2 had a better story. It is a better film rather than K-pop, me personally. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. But I am very happy about the creators and they're getting the recognition that they got as well. K-pop Demon Hunters also won for Best Original Song for, of course, Golden. That song has been going everywhere. This last couple of days, I listened to it and I cannot get that damn song out of my head. I was playing it on the drive home yesterday with my wife, and she loves that song. We were belting it out in the car, and then it was in my head. It's been in my head pretty much the last almost 24 hours. I can't get it out of my head. So
I know a song that can get it out of your head. That will help you get it out of your head.
If you go to Wuthering Heights again, I swear.
No, I was going to say APT, to be honest.
Oh, well...
I really like that song.
One battle after another.
I think Matt's getting one step closer to the edge, and Reece is about to break.
There we go. Hold on. You know what that deserves?
Woohoo! Bring on the Linkin Park. Oh, love it. Okay. Now we're going on to some other kind of technical side of things, which is really good to me. I'm glad to see that Frankenstein again. At least with Frankenstein,
they premiered.
Frankenstein. At least with Frankenstein.
that's a Mel Brooks reference. Sorry, mate. That's
why I don't recognize it. With Frankenstein, at least with this one over K-pop, they actually premiered it in theaters first, even though if it was only for a week and then they put it on Netflix. At least they did that. And it won 2 Oscars. It won for Best Costume Design, and it also won for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. And the fact that they had the stylist for makeup shout out our Aussie Jacob Elordi, saying he spent 400 hours in the chair getting made up for Frankenstein. That was just like, I was taken aback when I heard about how many hours he sat in that chair. It was unbelievable. Went, wow, okay, sweet. Okay, moving on to the next one. Yeah, original song with the Golden. Best production design also went to Frankenstein. I am not unhappy about that. I saw that movie. That production design, what they did with those sets was amazing. Can I ask? I know I kind of rambled on a little bit, but the films that we've gone through, K-pop, Sinners, One Battle After Another, Frankenstein. Have you seen all these films?
No.
I saw Sinners with you. Again, as I said, Sinners was okay, but for me, I know Reece will completely blast my ass for this. Now, I don't know if he told you any of this, but I went into that expecting it to be a Western-style vampire horror film, and the first 45 minutes, I'm thinking, get to the point. I mean, there were some fantastic cinematic sequences, cinematography, the shots, and it was okay. The story was okay. But for me, it was like, it took too long. I know they were trying to set it all up on blah, 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 blah. But for me, the first act, normally they say it falls off in the second act before being picked up in the third. For me, the first act was the weakest before it really got things going. But that's me.
I put Stuart in the same category as My Beautiful Wife. They're action prone. They need action to keep them stimulated.
I'm not that bad.
No, you're not as bad as My Beautiful Wife. But when it comes to Sinners, you are. I thoroughly enjoyed the first 45 minutes because you're walking into the film not thinking it's a horror film. You think it's a culture film about these two gangster brothers and trying to build things up. It's all about that dynamic. You're completely forgetting you're watching a horror film until you get to about 45 minutes into the film, and then the vampires show up and, oh, yes, okay, now we're going to have a tone shift.
Well, I knew what I was walking into, and it wasn't until the vampires came into it, I'm like, oh, that's right, it's a horror film, because the first act made me forget. But that's me.
And how great was the direction of Cougar, the fact that he's able to convey that, like, do those different tones so briefly. But that was just, fantastic to hear. So I was also happy to see that F1 won an award, which, no surprise, they definitely deserved it for Best Sound.
So are they...
listening to that...
Is there going to be a sequel called F2?
Well, I think we covered it...
Or is it going to be F1 2?
1, 2, 3, 4. Two,
F1, the second.
Too Furious.
2F, 2F, yeah.
Yeah, but we did mention on the podcast, the previous episode, that I think they were toying the idea of merging F1 and Days of Thunder together. But whether they do that or not, I don't know. Moving on to one of the last, we got best visual effects. With no surprise, went to Avatar: Fire and Ash. There was no competition in that. That was going to win no matter what. So those were the big stand. They were pretty much the main awards of the night. I had no qualms about it whatsoever. The only thing I had a little bit of was the um, K-pop Demon Hunters winning for best animated feature, but that was that point. So that's just the awards in themselves. Now, before I talk a little bit about the actual award show itself and how it was produced, what is yours two thoughts about the winners that I've just spit off? Do you have anything that surprised you? Anything that you're over the moon
Who
about?
was best
What's
picture?
your 2 cents?
You didn't mention best picture.
Best picture went to one. Yeah, yes, I did at the beginning. One battle after another.
Look, for me, all I could think was yesterday. I'm going through and I'm looking at and I'm like, oh, good weapons. One battle after another. Oh, sinners. Okay, one battle after sinners. Oh, good, did it. Sinners. I'm thinking to myself, Reece jumping up and down like every single time the Roosters score a goal in the NRL in a really tight game. Yeah.
I did jump, but I did jump up and down for when the fact that they've got, because one thing I don't think I didn't mention, which I should definitely have mentioned, was when it came to best cinematography went to Autumn Dorad Akapol for Sinners, and she made history with being the first one of her authenticity, her race, or I don't know if it's the right word to say, but her authenticity. Is that the word I'm trying to look for?
Authenticity.
Yeah. No, but her nationality, like first one of her nationality to win an award.
Ethnicity.
Win an academy.
Ethnicity.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. She's the first one of that to win an Academy Award, which was so beautiful to hear and see her get the recognition. So cinematography, I was over the moon. Yes, Stuart, I was over the moon when cinemas got the recognition. So the fact that it got best score, best cinematography, best original screenplay, best actor, loved it. But please, Stuart and Matthew, please continue before I move on.
I think K-pop Demon Hunters, okay, first of all, I haven't seen any of the movies, but they're all my to-watch list, especially one battle after another, okay?
I think you would enjoy it. Knowing your taste and what you like about Aussie films, I think you would enjoy one battle.
I was going to see that at the cinema, but I couldn't get around to it in time because my life popped up. But K-pop Demon Hunters, that is just not your demographic, Reece. That is not your thing. I
wouldn't say that. I enjoy. When it comes to K-pop, like it is in my demographic because I love watching those animation side of things. I love anime. I just thought I enjoyed it. It's not a bad film. I'm just saying for what they put it up, the pedestal they put K-pop under, it's not as good as everybody said. The soundtrack's great. The soundtrack is amazing. It's a great soundtrack, but the picture itself and the story that they've made is good. But there was a lot of animated films that were better than K-pop, which I personally think was Zootopia 2, me personally. But my problem is it debuted on streaming before they put it in theaters. So it is a TV movie, in my opinion. That's just
I'm only going by one of my friends who works in animation, and just watching her make comments about it and everything else, because she really wasn't fussed. She wasn't into it, but then one time she was watching it on Netflix and then fell in love with it, and she goes, "Oh my god, this is just her being obsessive about it." Just watching her do that, I'm going, "Wow, that's just seeing that the fandom connect like that." I'm thinking, okay,
I did enjoy the animation style, which is the same because it's the same studio of Sony Animation that brought us Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
I saw the blend of the same animation style.
I saw a bit of it during Conan's opening. When he did the Conan O'Brien's thing, and then next thing you know, he's going through K-pop Demon Hunters scene, and I thought, oh, that's cool. I might watch it now. So I'm willing to give that a try. But I guess it's just also refreshing, just because it's popular. Like as an example, right? You got one battle after another winning the awards, right? But it was a major flop. It wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't judge a book by its cover.
No, you can't. It's another thing, but even though it's technically not original, it's an adaptation. It's a like not many people know of the adaptation part of the novel, so not many people go out and want to experience something brand new. So which is a bit of a shame.
Like, you're not. It's not illegal to not like something, so you're completely fine with your opinion, Reece. So, yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So, I wanted to take a couple of minutes. Do you have anything to add to that, Stu?
No, good.
Okay, no worries. So I just want to add a couple of things.
Nope was nominated a couple of years ago, so yeah.
Good old Jordan Peele. So I just wanted to take my last couple of minutes here within this segment just to talk about what I thought did well, what I didn't think did well with the actual production of the show. Conan O'Brien, I thought didn't do that well this year. A lot of his jokes didn't land. There was a lot of technical issues that happened, which he had to think on the fly about, which having 12 months to perfect and produce a show of that caliber, you think you would get it right, but they didn't. Yes, a lot of the jokes, I think a lot of Conan O'Brien stuff, they just didn't work, and they were very much not on the par. Like, he did a very good job last year, and it just didn't do too well this year. A lot of the jokes they gave for a lot of the hosts, a lot of the presenters didn't land. Especially when they brought out Captain America and Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, the first bit that they did when Chris Evans was asking for a gift for their anniversary of the first Avengers film, none of that was funny. You can tell it was very much scripted and it didn't work, didn't flow. When they came back out and Robert Downey Jr. brought out Channing Tatum's thong from Magic Mike, that part was a little bit funny, especially when Channing Tatum speaks out from the crowd. I thought that part was pretty funny.
But a lot of this stuff doesn't really work, like sound-wise or whatever. They're being prompted to do certain things, and they've got to follow the teleprompter. So,
they do. But it also comes down to the writers of the show. Like it wasn't really funny.
And it's they're not allowed to improv.
No, they can't. Yep. So I just didn't think that forward. And I was listening when I was watching Conan's open monologue. That wasn't really that great. It wasn't funny in certain points. Yeah, I found the opening skit, they were taking a little bit of the piss out of the films and all that kind of stuff. That was cool to watch, but the monologue just wasn't really that funny in my opinion. I did find it was when they brought out Sigourney Weaver and Pedro Pascal to do their little bit. I thought that was cute, especially when they're going to cut into Grogu in the crowd with Kate Hudson.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Him! Get away from him, you bitch! Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It was just little Grogu was just there. I'm going, well, Mandalorian Grogu is coming out soon. They're trying to do some sort of publicity, even though not many people are looking forward to that movie.
No, you're not looking forward to that movie, Reece. You.
No, well, I have expressed interest in it, but it's just not on my high list because it's a fourth season. But
you're probably looking forward to Maul.
I think equal excitement. I'm more excited for what's it called, Starfighter next year. That's my Star Wars thing I'm looking forward to. But and I thought the performance their song performances, especially the one from Sinners, was fantastic. That was very visual and think that was great. The Golden performance was okay. The fact that they cut the song short, I didn't really appreciate, and it was just it felt like it was like it didn't flow very well when it comes to the end of that song. They cut it, and it was just like you could tell that they were shorting it a lot, which was a bit of unfortunate. But one of the highlights for me and any Oscars in the past is always the memoriam. I got emotional watching the memorial this year when you had Billy Crystal come out to talk about Rob Reiner and talk about all his films. And after they had Billy Crystal finish up his and they had pretty much a lot of Rob Reiner's cast come out on stage and just pay homage to him. And whilst they were doing that, they were playing the Princess Bride theme. It was so beautiful. That got me a little bit emotional watching that. And then you go through all the amazing and unfortunate people we lost in the industry over the last 12 months. And then that brings into Rachel McAdams talking about the legend that is Diane Keaton. And that was such a great. I got a bit more emotional listening to that, and just such a pillar of the community, pillar of the industry that she was. And then you go from there, and then I don't think anyone was expecting Barbra Streisand to come out and talk about Robert Redford.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Every time Barbra Streisand.
Yeah, Barbra Streisand. And the fact, no one expected her to come out and start singing and talk about Robert Redford, and just the fact that when they ended that segment and they put up a quote from Redford, that quote kind of stuck with me. The fact that they said the glory of art is that it can not only survive change, it can lead it. That is such an amazing quote, and it stuck with me listening to that. So the memoriam always gets me, and just unfortunately just shows you how many people we lost. Like we lost Terrence Stamp.
I think Robert Redford's or the best quote from him is, "Yes, Miss Romanoff, the lapel attached to your vest was activated once you put it on."
Put it on. And did you know what Robert Redford's last feature film was?
That would be Avengers Endgame.
Endgame. That one scene that he was in, that was his last theatrical performance. So we got him in an Avengers film before he passed away. So I could talk about a bit more about the Oscars, but that's pretty much everything that's the main things I wanted to talk about, what I liked about it, and there was a lot of things. I still think they need to cut really force with the Oscar speeches and make sure that everyone sticks to the time limit. Things like that.
TikTok.
Like the countdown. So going through with all that, what is your... did any of you watch the show? And if not, did you watch any of the promos for it or any of the snippets after the points?
I saw everything afterwards, so it was almost social.
What did you think? What was the highlights that you really stood out to you?
Oh, it was just the emotional part where they brought out the tribute to Rob Reiner. So I just got, it's got, and it just went on.
And the first thing that he mentioned was Spinal Tap?
Of course, yes. But the one that a lot of people were kicking up a stink about, where there was that Bridesmaids reunion, and it was missing.
Oh, that went on for so long.
Wendy, what's her name?
That wasn't this. It wasn't funny.
Yeah, but
and the thing, technical issues. Melissa McCarthy's mic was like so not working. Like this stuff, you had 12 months to figure it out. Come on.
Well, Reece, I think you should be on their production team.
Please. Bring me to LA. Love it. So what about you, Stu? What did you think about going back and watching the Oscars? What did you think of it?
Well, look, I've only ever seen the Oscars once, and I watched it live. You know, good old when you finish at 10 o'clock in the morning. My main thing was too many friggin' ads. It's like Super Bowl, too many ads. But look, for me, the thing that stood out, of course, Sigourney and Pedro. Get away from Grogu. For me, seeing the memoriam, seeing Catherine up there, seeing Diane up there were the big points for me. And for me, I remember after Diane passed, and years ago, she starred in the film clip for Bieber's Ghosts. Was never a big fan of Bieber in his early days, but like Ghosts by Justin Bieber, I can't listen to that without thinking of Diane Keaton. Even though it's not a big role she's in the film clip, I still relate her back to that. As well as the First Wives Club. So for me, it's it was still nice and beautiful.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, they did miss out a couple of people on they're
never going to get everyone. There were so many people in the Academy member in the part of that side of things.
Well, they missed out on James Van Der Beek for one. So
they were a bit. People were a bit crabby about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, but again, they can't tick them all off. But it's
yeah.
So
that is our long Entertainment Honourable Mentions. Thank you for bearing with us for that. It's just the Oscars is a big part of the social calendar when it comes to the industry of film, and we had to cover it in as much length as we possibly could. But Please go into the comment section and please email us at the address that's going to be in our show notes about what you thought about the winners and what you thought about everything we discussed today. Please let us know. And that is Entertainment Honourable Mentions.
All right, time to hit the refill button and add some more butter to Reese's popcorn. All right.
Ooh, I don't do butter with my popcorn. I just do salt.
Okay, sprinkle and Maltesers, yes. All right.
Yeah.
Time to top up your Maltesers box, mate. And
yes, we're going to jump in and bring this home with some reviews. This is what you've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you've been waiting for.
What you're waiting for.
So we're going to bring in some reviews.
Take a chance, you stupid.
What are you smoking? Share it.
No, I'm not smoking anything. I mean, I just enjoy. Yeah. As you were, Reece.
And silence. So we're going to jump into the realm of sci-fi, and we're going to stay in it. I went to an advanced screening on the weekend for a film that's coming out here in Australia. As recording of this podcast tomorrow on Thursday, and it is Project Hail Mary. Now, this has been in my most anticipated film list, and I went and saw it with a packed-out cinema, which was fantastic to see. And I can say, ladies and gentlemen, unlike Scream 7, that was also on my list, which severely disappointed me, is one of the worst films I've seen, Project Hail Mary lived up to the hype. It was brilliant. I loved the fact that I got a new love for a puppet of the name of Rocky. I love that character now. It was absolutely brilliant. I fell in love with his relationship with Ryan Gosling's character Grace. The story flowed. I was locked in. I thought that I gave it 4.5 stars on my Letterboxd, and the only reason why I dropped it down half a star is I couldn't really pick up how they were going to structure the film within the first 30 minutes. I didn't know how they were going to do it, but as soon as they got towards the end of the first act, and I was going, this is where they're going, I was locked, and I was so enthralled with the entire thing. I was not confused, because a lot of people I've been hearing about from the source material with the book is that they didn't understand how such a big, complex, and broad book could be condensed within a 2 hour and 40-minute film. And apparently they were able to take some liberties and bring it into a whole well-rounded story, and make it accessible for someone who hasn't read the source material, which was me. I was able to follow the story. I loved it. I loved the ending, picture perfect ending. The whole sense of the whole of the actual movie itself was done in a unique way that I thought it was very well done. Like, I kind of agree. Like, occasionally you go to the movies and you come out and you go and you watch a film and you think, this is why you go to the movies. This is a film where it gives you an experience and you will walk out of it just thinking, wow. And that was I was whisked away into another story and another get some relationships and more characters and things like that. And I was just swept up into the world that was what they were trying to convey. And I was so happy to get what I wanted to do it. Lord and Miller have showcased that they are a great directing team. People who don't know, Lord and Miller brought us the Spider-Verse films, and they are so on point. They were able to provide comedy, heartfelt emotion, heartbreak. The comedy on this film is definitely some key points as well. They fulfilled in showing the evolution of a relationship that's growing and becoming to a point where you just wanted to see more scenes between Grace and Rocky. And the only thing now what this film is based on, the book, is also the same novelist who did The Martian. So the film was The Martian. If people don't know, is the Matt Damon film where he's stuck on Mars. And a lot of people are comparing and say which film is better, The Martian or Project Hail Mary. I think I might agree with some people. I think I find The Martian a little bit better. to watch as a viewing experience. I find The Martian a little bit better as an experience. But I loved Project Hail Mary. I thought it was such a great experience. I could see myself going to see it again, and just being captivated again. So I could talk about this film a bit more, but I found that the cinematography was beautifully done. Scripts were done beautifully. The sound, I don't think I liked too many of the score sound choices, but it worked at certain points. The puppetry done for the thing, it's not a CGI character of Rocky. It's pretty much, they said they use the occasional CGI to tweak certain things, but it is a puppet. They use a puppet on set, done brilliantly, and it was so captivating. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, 4.5 stars. And I would, if anyone wants to have a great experience at the movies, to be swept away in a sci-fi epic that's just what you need to escape, this is a movie for you. So that is pretty much my just love for Project Hail Mary. So I want to leave it to you two. What is your expectation going into this film? Taking out my opinion, what is your expectation of this film if you have one? And do you think you'll be going out to see it theatrically, which it deserves to be seen theatrically on the biggest screen possible? What is your two opinion?
Okay. For me, I've not really seen a trailer. The basic synopsis about the whole sun thing, I thought to myself, okay, they've already done that with Sunshine. But you're like, okay, biggest screen possible. And I'm like, yes, I know it's different to Sunshine. Just before you say anything, Reece, I can see the look on your face. But look, reading the basic thing, I'm like, okay, did they do that in Sunshine where they have to reactivate the sun? But in this case, it's again similar thing. Look, it sounds intriguing. I said it sounds similar. Hence the word similar. Dictionary-arize it. Similar, not exact. And look, I don't know. I mean, the good thing is if I miss it at the cinema, at least I got a 75-inch HDR TV that I can still experience it with a Dolby Atmos soundbar. So worst case scenario, at least I can still give myself a somewhat cinematic experience at home, as long as the Wi-Fi doesn't cut out. Especially.
Well, I'm not going to add a comment to that. So, Matt, how about you bring us home with this?
All right. Well, I am looking forward to it. I did watch the trailer, and the fact that Rocky has a sense of humor, and that they were going through like the snippet that I did see where Ryan Gosling's character is sorting through the different voices to give Rocky a voice. And then
that's funny.
Yeah, I had a little giggle out of that. So, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, cool. Well, disregard what Stuart says, ladies and gentlemen. Please go and see it on a theatrical experience on the biggest screen possible. Do not wait to streaming.
I never said I wouldn't.
I'm noticing a repetitiveness here with you got, as you said, you got Project Hail Mary. You got The Martian, then there was Interstellar, and then there was Ad Astra. So that's like, do they all they've got like this solo type thing, and Gravity for another one. So revolving around one character.
Project Hail Mary goes about it. They do like the beginning premise is about the sun, but that part of it evolves and. Okay. It's not about sending someone to fix something and then returning. It does take some changes, which is very different. So don't let that deter.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we're going to bring this whole amazing episode to a close, and we're going to finish things off with staying in the realm of sci-fi. We are
that doesn't. I'm out of here.
We're going.
Anyway.
Solo.
Okay.
So we're going to bring things home with a TV series. We're going to bring things home with a series that just had its finale as we're recording this podcast last week. Now, the reason why the man that is Stuart is on this podcast is because he is the friend of this podcast who is I would say he knows the dictionary of this series back to front. So if anyone is going to know about the lore of this series, it's going to be him. Just like Star Wars is for me, this is going to be for him. And I'm obviously going to be talking about Star Trek Starfleet Academy. to give everybody context, I would assume Matt Man here has not watched a single episode. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. Me personally, I have watched all 10 episodes, and I would assume Stuart has also watched all 10 episodes. Am I right?
Yeah. I've been watching too many.
It's an audio podcast, mate. You might need to spare.
Of course I have.
Okay. Now, the one thing we do on this podcast, mate, is that when it comes to TV shows and streaming, especially how these work, films is a different story because it's a theatrical experience. It takes time to go out to the theaters, and then we understand it. When it comes to TV shows, especially when it comes to finales and premieres and things like that, if you really want to watch a show like this or a finale like this,
you should have seen it already.
You would watch it within the first 24 to 48 hours. So by the time it comes to our episode dropping, people should have already seen it. So we're going to flow up this spoiler warning for anyone here anyway. We're not going to go into too much detail, but the spoiler warning is there for the finale of Star Trek Academy in case anyone is out there who has not seen it. Okay? You have been warned. That is our service message for the week of spoiler warning. Now, before I let my legend that is my mate here go into detail about this, I personally was going to give my quick synopsis of it. I enjoyed it. I didn't love the series. I thought the scripts weren't strong, very half thought through. A lot of the episodes were very much, when it comes to a new streaming show like this, you should not have filler episodes. And I felt 1 or 2 episodes were filler. I didn't think they progressed an overall arcing story very well. What they did do well is they gave us a majority of the characters were presented in a very well lit light where you actually did care about the character, especially the character of Caleb. I thought that they put a lot of effort into bringing his character to life and giving us a core of why we would feel for him, why we're following him on this journey. I think they did that pretty similarly well. I wasn't saying it was absolutely fantastic, but it was very well. I thought one of the standout was the legend that is Holly Hunter. I thought she did a very great well. You can just tell she just was having having fun, which is fantastic to see. And I thought the finale was okay. Wasn't groundbreaking or anything. Didn't knock me off my seat. It was a lot of dialogue heavy. I think the end, one of the big standouts of the entire season was definitely Paul Giamatti. I think his villain was definitely, when he was on screen, definitely gave the actual episode a lot more depth and a lot more, what's the other word I'm kind of looking for? Depth, and it was pretty much more weight about what was going to transpire and what he was going to do. And I thought the overarching story of the series of trying to reunite Caleb with his mother and using Starfleet Academy to get there was a good position to have. But I think the series has already been screened out for a second season. I wouldn't be rushing. I'll keep with it, but I would still say that it didn't wow me, which I hoped it would. But I was also to see that they gave a bit more. It was more of like a teen drama in space, which is what I think what they were trying to go for, with a little bit of the Discovery action to kind of bring in like that thrill factor as well. I still think the best modern Star Trek show they've got going at the moment is Strange New Worlds. I love that one. And I wasn't a big fan of the latest season of Discovery, but I think Strange New Worlds is my favorite recent one. So I wouldn't rate Star Trek Academy very, very high. I can understand why a lot of Star Trek fans hate it. I've seen a lot of discourse at the moment where a lot of people, I know 2 Star Trek fans that I follow online where they go, give up after episode 2. Don't even bother with it. It's crap. And just like this is the same people who don't like a lot of Strange New Worlds, don't like a lot of Discovery. They hate J.J. Abrams' 3 movies as well. So they pretty much said that they want something new to Star Trek because they've lost everything that made Star Trek great when it comes to the original, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and all that kind of fun stuff. So I enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't rush to see it every week, but it was a good bit of a change of pace to what we are used to. So, Stuart, the floor is yours. What did you think of Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1?
Well, compared to you, the exact opposite. An overall 4.5 out of 5. And no, it's not just because it was Star Trek, because to be honest, the way they ended Strange New World season 2, I went into episode 1 of season 3 and I'm like, well, how about again? Oh yeah, that's all right. Thank God I don't have to rewatch the end of season 2 again. Look, Strange New World for me ended up being good after you had the likes of Discovery, which are all action-packed, and then Strange New Worlds being action-packed / adventurous. Academy gave us sort of like the more grounded, rooted series. So you had, like, back in the late 80s and in the 90s, you had Next Gen, DS, and Voyager, right? This essentially gave us the DS9 of the modern age. There wasn't huge action-packed scenes every other week. There wasn't all of this, there wasn't all of that. So just like some DS9 episodes, there were some where people will go, they were filler. But it was a matter of learning about some of the backgrounds of a few of the cadets, including the newer holographic one. It was great seeing the Doctor come back and be brought into it. And even to the point where they referenced some more classic Voyager episodes, including the Omega Directive and how much further that thing's been brought into it. And they even reference the Doctor's family from, I think it was season 3 or 4 of Star Trek Voyager. And the fact that they actually looped that back into all the way back to the first episode in Starfleet Academy. And it was like, okay, that explains all that. Because I know, Reece, I had you watch certain episodes of Voyager to lead up to Picard, so you had an idea behind everything. So for me, look, yes, were there a couple of slow points in a couple of episodes here and there? Yes, but you're always going to get that. But with an average runtime of 60 to 63 minutes per episode, I'll tell you now, I did not feel the runtime. All of it, you put it on, the opening sequence was there, and again, instead of being this action-packed sequence, the fact that they actually took it from starting of a seedling, sprouting out, the formation and the building of the academy, and all that stuff. It meant it didn't have to be this huge action-packed sequence. It was done as a very informative learn and growing. And the idea that at the end of it, yes, fine. Episode 10, fine, it was dialogue heavy, but it wasn't supposed to be, again, all action-packed. Even the finale of DS9, which took 10 episodes, it was a 10-episode finale for DS9, it's 7. 10 episodes to wrap up 7 years. Even the last episode, there were a couple of spaceship battles, but then that final 15 minutes is a fair bit of dialogue and one quick bit of action over 45 seconds, and that's it. And so I remember the first time I watched DS9 and I was a bit, really? But then I went back and watched it and had a better appreciation. Starfleet Academy, week after week, looked forward to going back into it each time. So the fact that they told the story, the way they did, the effects, the way they utilized the cast, hell, the fact that they brought Tilly back in episode 8 was freaking awesome. They brought in Tiny Newsom, who was the lead in Lower Decks. She's been in the producer in the entire season. She even co-wrote and starred in the episode, series ! Episode 5, where it's then released that the symbiote Dax from DS9 is still alive. Hundreds of years after the end of DS9. So again, it was a really good tie-in. So overall, really looking forward to the next season, which they've already finished filming, by the way. And can't wait to see what they bring into it.
Okay, so you've given a positive endorsement, which is great. So, which is going to be very different because I find a lot of Star Trek fans are doing the opposite. So you're going to be in the minority of people where they're actually promoting it, and a lot of Star Trek fans aren't. So it's good to get different kind of opinions where you've got some Star Trek fans are loathing it and kind of think that the last 5 to 10 years of Star Trek have just been absolutely horrid. And then there's some people who actually quite enjoy it. So that's a great thing about the art. It hits us all in different ways, and we appreciate what's provided to us. So again, that is our reviews for this week episode, ladies and gentlemen. Please let us know, like we did with the honorable mentions, how you found. If you were one of the lucky ones to see Project Hail Mary early, please let us know what you thought. If you haven't seen it yet and you're wanting to see it, what's your expectations? And the same thing for Strange New Worlds. Do you agree with myself, or do you agree with the Trekkie here and his opinions? Please let us know. And as always, Matt Man, bring us home, mate.
well, thank you very much for listening and subscribing to Reece's Reviews podcast. Thank you very much, Stu, for coming on board. And the invite is open for you to return again if you want to any time.
Come on.
As long as you wanted to tolerate me, I'm fine.
Yeah, excellent. But thank you for bringing your Star Trek world of knowledge with you. So looking forward to it.
Warren, ladies and gentlemen, he'll be back on the podcast. We're having a catch up shortly, and keep your eyes open for our YouTube channel. You might have some surprises in store on that point. So just keep subscribed to that YouTube channel, and we'll bring you some awesome goods.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much as well, Reece, for supplying and providing all the latest news and reviews. My name is Matt. This has been Reece's Reviews from mygeekculture.com.au, produced by Matt Fulton Productions, mattfulton.com.au. Have a good one, and may the shores be with you.
Have a great rest of your week, everybody. When you're listening to this podcast, evening, night, morning, whenever it is, and be kind to yourself, keep being positive, and as always, may the Force be with you.
Live long and prosper.